ottiano. Tha-dhi-ki na-thom Tha-dhi-ki na-thom Tha-dhi-ki na-thom Tha-dhi-ki na-thom Tha-dhi-ki na-thom junuThan, ThangKita, ThakaThang, ThaThang, KitathakaTharikitaThom, KitathakaTharikitaThom, KitathakaTharikitaThomDhim, KitathakaTharikitaThom, 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 KitathakaTharikitaThom. Welcome to today's episode of Konnakol 2020, the video series in which every day of the year I show you something about the science and art behind the wonderful vocal percussion tradition of South India. I am Carlitos from Slovenia and today is July the 5th, so happy birthday to my friend Violeta. I'll be honest with you, I really liked the idea for yesterday's episode in which I show you a simple Korvai that I created for the series, just like that. So I kind of did it again today, of course with a different structure and all that. But today we are also looking at a short Korvai in Adi talam, rendered in chaturashra nadai madhyama kalam. But today's Korvai's length is 4 avartanams in Adi talam. That means a total of 128 aksharas long. And if you remember yesterday's episode, if you saw it already, you will immediately realize that today's structure is very similar to that of yesterday's Korvai. And by that I mean that the first part, that is that very long list of beats of phrases that are in descending order, is exactly like yesterday's. And by that I mean that we have a first part, which is just one phrase for a particular number, followed by a gap, and then we start subtracting one akshara per line until we reach the end. And then after that we have the uttarangam part, as it's called, which is the tirmanam. So that shape is exactly the same as yesterday's, but of course the values are different. So let's look at the values. We start this Korvai with a phrase for 9 and a 3 gap, and then phrase for 8, 3 gap, 7, 3 gap, 6, 3 gap, 5, 3 gap, 4, 3 gap, 3, 3 gap, 2, 3 gap, 1, 3 gap, and then there's a 0 there. And that 0, of course, a phrase with a value of 0 has no length, does not exist. But I thought of adding that 0 there so you can have a better understanding of how this collection of phrases was constructed. But in essence, what we play after we reach this 1, 3 gap is another 3 gap. So we are going to perform as 1, 3 gap, 3 gap. And then we have a tirmanam, which is simply 5, 5, 5, 4 gap, 5, 5, 5, 4 gap, 5, 5, 5. And the way we perform this is as follows. The phrase for 9, we're going to perform it as Tha-dhi-ki na-thom. The last thom has a value of 1 akshara, while the other previous syllables has each a value of 2. So it's 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1, 9. So the phrase for 8 is Thadhi-ki na-thom, which immediately you will notice that this is a variation, or in a way a compression, a contraction of the previous phrase. That is something I was going for when I created this composition. And that's why the phrase for 7 is Tha-dhi-ki na-thom. So you can see that the terms are Tha-dhi-ki na-thom, and then I start compressing all of them in a particular way so that we start with a phrase for 9 with these 5 terms, and then we shrink them, we compress them all the way until the phrase for 5, and then you pick another phrase. So the phrase for 6 is Tha-dhi-ki na-thom, 5 is Tha-dhi-ki na-thom, and then the phrase for 4 is Taka-junu, 3 Thakita, 2 Thaka, and 1 Tha. And of course, these are all very, very, very standard phrases, especially as they become shorter and shorter. The gap for 3, we perform it as Thang, and then we are already at the end, at the tirmanam at the end. So that 5, 5, 5, we perform it as KitathakaTharikitaThom, 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 and the gap for 4 is simply Dhim. As always, those phrases that are supposed to be played at the different subdivisions, I mark them with italics. And in this particular composition, it means that we are playing them at twice the speed. And just like with yesterday's episode, here is the transcription of the whole composition, and you can see that I colored red all the instances of that phrase tang, which has a value of 3 gap, right? Because in a way, you could say that this is the main phrase of this Korvai could be this tang. So I thought it could be interesting, it would be beneficial to mark them, to see where all these very important phrases fall within the composition. Because sometimes they start on the downbeat, sometimes they start after 1 akshara, sometimes after 2, sometimes after 3. So you have all the possibilities for this tang to be performed. So now is the time, if you want, to press that pause button, that wonderful pause button, and try to learn this on your own. And if you don't want that, it's not a problem. We are going to now perform this again at a slower tempo, so you're very welcome to join. So whenever you're ready, let's start. Taka-dhimi, taka-junu, taka-dhimi, taka-junu, Tha-dhi-ki, na-thomThang, Tha-dhi-ki, na-thomThang, Tha-dhi-ki, na-thomThang, Tha-dhi-ki, na-thomThang, Tha-dhi-ki, na-thomThang, taka-junuThang, ThangKita, ThakaThang, ThaThang, Thang, KitathakaTharikita ThomKitathakaTharikita ThomKitathakaTharikita ThomDhim, KitathakaTharikita ThomKitathakaTharikita ThomDhim, KitathakaTharikita ThomKitathakaTharikita ThomKitathakaTharikita ThomDhim. So there you have it. I hope you liked this new Korvai that I created for today's episode. I'm always interested in receiving your feedback, so please let me know what you think by using the YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram comments, or you can also reach out to me via my social networks listed here. Thanks a lot for watching. I have been Carlitos from Slovenia, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.